Hi everyone, Angus Campbell here, Sunday the 16th of August 2020. So following hot on the heels of the stable update video published recently, then let's get on with the A70 Lightning. So just to recap, we've determined that we've got a head gasket leak on the right hand cylinder, just about there. Wondering whether one of the studs has pulled, that one in particular. So it's head off time. So tools at the ready. Don't think it's going to take too long, but anyway, first things: tank off, exhaust off, carbs off, right hand footrest off, because at the same time we're going to fit the new back plate and points the new oil stock. So we'll need to remove the outer right hand timing cover. So let's crack on with that first and I'll bring you back. Okay, just over an hour later. So that's gone pretty well. I suppose the reason for that is that obviously this bike has only recently been built up. So all the nuts, bolts, seams and everything are still pretty clean. So that went well. What I'm pleased at really is how nice and clean and oiled up the top end is, and also how well the gasket sealed actually as well. It'll need a new gasket, I think. But so far so good. So cup of tea, and then we'll get this head off. Right, exhaust spindle out, nicely oiled up, so we know there's plenty of oil going up there, so that's fine. And that means now we can get to all the inner head bolts, including that one right down in the centre tunnel there. So just undo those, and then I'll try and film it as I'm lifting the head, so we can see what misdemeanors lie underneath. Right, apologies oil, I've lost a chunk of film because I thought it was videoing when I was lifting the head, which was a bit of a struggle actually, and it wasn't. But here we are anyway. So I think we know what the problem is, so let's go through this. So firstly, head. So this is the right hand side as we're upside down, and you can see it's been leaking all along there, but also there's evidence of it leaking here as well, maybe a little bit there. So generally on the right hand pot, if you look at the gasket, so obviously this is the other way up, so that's the right hand side. So that confirms it there, a bit here and a bit here. So that's with it obviously being face up. So on the motor it would have been that way round. And then you get to the underside. Well, that's usual on an A65, to be honest. So I will get probably a sheet of glass or something and gently grind that face and just see where the low spots are on it. It's bound to be on the head, I think, rather than the barrel. And also, just looking into why we've got an issue mainly on the right hand pot and not the left, then we've got some answers already. So firstly, the rear stud on the right hand side, the thread is bad in the barrel, and the front, you can see, has already been helicored, which I hadn't noticed when I put this together. So we've got a bit of resurrection to do there. Now a lot of people I know are probably going to say, oh my god, helicoil. And yeah, I understand the concern, But having said that, we're only talking about, you know, 22 foot-pounds. It's not a massive torque on this. So I'm going to see if we can helicoil. I have got a helicoil set for 3/8 BSF, and it's the V-coil stuff, so it's pretty good stuff. This was holding at the front. We did torque that down properly, but obviously it's not going to last like that, and we're not got a full helicoil either, and probably we need 2 on that side. But the rear one definitely needs helicoiling. So, a couple of jobs to do then. Let's see how we get on with resurrecting the barrel. All the other threads are fine. All the other, what we're talking about, 5. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah. Okay, yeah, sorry, I'm dithering here. I'm just having a bit of a think about this. It's a Sunday. I might be able to get a bit of glass today, or find something anyway, to clean that up and see if we're low, or whether it's just because we couldn't, we obviously hadn't torqued down properly, or it's lifted the right hand side of the head slightly. Anyway, bit of work to do, so let me ponder on that, and then I'll bring you back as to whether we need to end this as a part 1 while we think about what we're going to do about it. Well, while I'm still pondering, here's the view from the barrel end. You can clearly see the inserts, and I know that this was all faced up. It had to be, after the inserts were put in by Richard at Ward's Engineering. But now, you know, just looking at this again, just see I've got a torch handy. I haven't really, but you can clearly see that that's been tapped out for a helicoil. But the helicoil's come out. That's the offending, damaged original thread, and in fact the well, let's grab it. Let's grab the stud. And actually, this the top end of the thread is stripped, the original thread. And so it's only catching at the bottom of the bottom, probably third. So that will need V-coiling, which I'm probably going to do, and then I've got the tap to clean that out and insert new V-coil as well. The rest of them are fine. I know many of you are probably going to say don't trust V-coil stroke helicoils, but as I say, these barrels are bought specifically to those standard pistons, not to just any sort of generic standard bore diameter, but actually to these pistons. And these pistons and rods are balanced, dynamically balanced on the crank. So it's worth giving the helicoil a go. In some ways, if a helicoil's into alley, then the helicoil can actually be stronger than the original alley thread. This is obviously into cast, iron based, so iron barrels. But we're only talking about, as I say, 22 foot-pounds, which really isn't a lot for a good thread. I remember that again in my youth, after I took a stint out from motorcycles when I passed my car test, and then one point I had a Triumph Sports, a TR6, and we did a light restoration on that, and including a top-end rebuild on the engine. And at the time, in my naivety and being used to motorcycles, I just took the head down to about 22 to 25 foot-pounds. And of course, as soon as I started the engine, water was spewing into the cylinders. And then you look up what the correct setting should be, and it's about, I think it's 60 to 80. So even petrol engines on cars are much higher torque setting than on motorcycles. But I will check these again, and I'm pretty much decided that I'm going to try and resurrect that, and I'm going to helicoil that, because as I say, I do have the correct set here somewhere. When I find out, here it is, what I've done with it. Here it is. It's the proper German vehicle stuff. So, and this is 3/8 BSF. Drill tap, helicoils, insertion tools, tang breaker. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Now, I suppose the good news is that, you know, we've got quite a broad area where it was leaking from. So I don't think there'll be much burning, and we're not talking about a crack. Actually, I was actually worried that the head might be cracked, or maybe we've got some sort of gouge out of the surface, but there isn't one there, and I think it just couldn't have been torqued down properly on the outside. But anyway, first of all, let's well, we've got to V-coil those two threads, and we've got to check the mating surface on this see how true that is. And I would probably use a bit of glass, so let's have a bit of digging around and get prepared for that. Right, a little dark, but I think you can see it. So what I've been doing since the last clip is I took the tap from the 3/8 BSF V-coil, and I ran it down this thread that's previously been helicoiled, and cleaned it up, but the thread is good. So I then ran a V-coil down it with the right tools and took the tang off at the end, and I've now run this new slightly longer front stud in twice, and it feels really good actually. I'm really pleased with that. I double nutted it in rather than the usual botch trick of mole gripping it in, and it's all the way in, and it feels really good actually. And I haven't nipped it up too much on the bottom because I want to take the strain at the top with the nut when we torque that down. But you know, just thinking about this a little further, so you know, that's a steel thread it's in now. It is lovely and snug. I say the bored out thread was good. And when you think about it, actually, okay, so the helicoil itself isn't going to give you, you know, a full thread at the bottom, but then you're talking down at the top, you know, on that nut, which is nowhere near, you know, the length of the thread at this end anyway. So the more I think about this, the more I'm a bit more comfortable in attempting this. I mean, plus the fact that, you know, getting another set of barrels for a start that are in, you know, good nick, and certainly not going to be standard. So therefore, I'm looking at either sleeving another set of barrels, if I can get a set of barrels with good threads, or having to bore out. I've got plus 40 pistons, but then you know the crank's going to be out of balance. So I'm comfortable with proceeding on this basis. So what I'm going to do next then is I've got the correct size bit to bore this out. I've got cutting compound, which it recommends, and we're going to gently drill out this hole and tap it to put a V-coil in on this side. Right, let's see how we get on. Right, that's the original hole just drilled out with the correct bit for the helicoil tap. Had to take it very easy with the cutting compound because otherwise the drill had a tendency to dig. But it's cleaned it out nicely all the way to the bottom, and now I'm just beginning to wind in the tap gently, backwards and forwards, and a little bit extra each time. There's a bit of cutting compound on there as well. Where's the torch? There it is, just a minute. There we go. All nice and clean and cutting it well. I wondered how well this block, this barrel would drill and tap, but it seems to be going fine with the tools that I've got. They seem to be pretty good quality. I'll say they are genuine German V-coils, so we should be okay. So I'll plough on. I've had to remove the front stud again, but that wound out beautifully actually. Nice clean thread. The inserts beautifully in position on that side of it, so I think this is going to work. So yeah, I'm getting more confident as this goes along. So let me finish this off and I'll bring you back. Okay, that's it tapped. I've just lost the torch again. Where's it gone? Because what I was going to show you is the thread. There it is. Right. A bit of iron filings there, but actually you can't see that very well at all, can you? I'll bring you back on this. The reason why there's iron filings there is because obviously there's a lot in the bottom, but the best way to deal with that is using a magnetic screwdriver. And there's a lot in here, you need to get it out. So this is the third. There you go. So that's the technique that I'll do. So I'll continue to clean that out, and then I'll bring you back and try and show you the thread. But the thread has come out really well. I'm really pleased with it. Right, that's all the filings out. So I'm just running the tap down again with some oil to make sure the threads are clean, and you can see how good a job it's done because I can wind that in with my fingers, but it's good and tight with no lateral play. So yeah, I'm pleased with that. So yeah, I don't take too much, no more junk out, just a bit of oil there. So just wipe it. And let's just see if we can angle this. There we go. A softer light, and you can see the thread there, nice and clean. Good job. So right, next thing we'll do is wind in the V-coil. So I'll need to use my other hand for this. Right. There's the V-coil with its tang in the groove. And what we have to do now is let it find its thread. She's struggling to do it at the minute. You've got to be quite careful with this so you don't break the tang on the end of the V-coil. Right, let me bring you back because that's not starting. I don't want to force it. I need two hands. Right, there we go. Just needed to start it. So just gently wind it in now. It's got a bit of lubricant on it. And you wind it in to about a thread underneath the top surface. Just very gently. We don't want that tang to break yet. And also remember, you can't wind it back once you're in. I'll probably go a little bit lower actually than one thread. Like so. Okay, looks good. And then you'll see in there that there's the tang. And we now need to use just a blind-ended tool and give that a tap. Like so. There we go. Now we can check that with... Sorry about all the moving around, but I should put you on the stand really. And there we go. With the magnetic screwdriver, we take the tang out. That's what I wanted. Right. So, we'll grab the rear shorter stud and we'll wind that in. You can see I've got the front one back in, and as you can see as well, it winds in mainly by hand until it gets to the bottom, so that's good. So we'll get the other stud in now. Right, just double knotting this in. Nice and smooth, you know, firm but free, no grit in the threads, and just tightening there now. We've got and that's about right. Okay, good. So nuts off, and then we can concentrate on that head to make sure that that face is okay on the cylinder head. Right, there we go. Much happier about that. All those four studs are solid, so we stand a much better chance already. Right, now what I need to do is see if the local any of the local stores that are open on a Sunday can sell me a small sheet of glass. So we've got to do a bit of investigating over a cup of tea. Right, I'm just going to nip to home base in a mode to buy a bathroom mirror, I think, a cheapo. But in the meantime, just going back to checking this with a flat. And look at that in the centre. It's low. And I mean, on camera actually it looks worse than it is, but there you go, that's a better view. Try and get the glare off. and that's always what you find. It's the same on my A65. So we'll grind it down, this face down a little. I don't want to do too much because we haven't got much space to play with in the first place. But we'll just see if we can take a little bit off, and just to get a bit more pressure on the head gasket. And obviously what we'll do as well is we'll re-anneal this gasket. Right, glass. There we go, beautiful. Glass mirror tiles. That's exactly what we want. So we'll unpack one of those, get the valve grinding paste out, and we'll give this surface a bit of a grind, just to see if we can just level it a bit more than it is. But I'm not too worried about that side now. I don't think that side's down. I think that was just because of the poor studs, but we just need to reduce that a bit, and that's exactly what I had to do with my 68 Lightning in probably around about 1976, 77. Must have been around about then, because in 77 I bought a T160 Trident that was a year old with 1500 miles on it. So there you go. Anyway, memories. Let's get on with this. So a liberal coating of coarse grinding paste, and then lay the glass on top, and then all I'll be doing is a circular motion, and we'll slowly just grind that down and see how we get on after the first pass. So I'll do that for a few minutes and I'll bring you back. So after the first few minutes, you can probably discern actually that there's a bit of a low spot there, but the main one's there. So I don't know whether we'll manage to get all of that out. There we go, there's a better view. But we'll certainly aim to reduce that as much as we can. Right, on we go. Right, you can see after a second go with it that yeah, we're still low in the middle there, but you can see that the paste is going grey around the outside. So that does indicate that we're removing a bit of metal. So hopefully that spot there in the centre will reduce in size and go. We'll get a bit more grey around there. I don't think we'll get all of it out, because at some point, you know, over this side here, there's not much mating surface there left before you start getting into the fin. And also, the more that we do this, the more we slightly increase the compression ratio, and we haven't got much space anyway. So anyway, we'll just crack on a bit just to see if we can reduce that a little bit more. Okay, after another burst, we're getting there. So, as you can see, just a bit around there now. That's beginning to grind a little, and looking pretty good. So I'm pretty confident actually we can just about grab it. It'll never be perfect, they never are, but that's going to be an awful lot better. Every thou is going to help. Right, good. I'm glad I'm in the garage working on the bike this afternoon and riding it. It's absolutely bloody chucking it down. Right, back to the job in hand. Right, I think we're at the point where I don't want to take it too much further, to be honest. There's a little tiny area there, but it's much better. Maybe I'll just give it one more quick go, and then we'll clean it up, clean the head up. I shan't give it a bath in the ultrasonic cleaner. I'll just clean it up with some gunk and then just put it outside in the rain, I think, to rinse off. But that's a lot better than it was. and it's confirmed as well that there was no low spot in the area in which it was leaking. It must have just lifted on the stud slightly, and it certainly wasn't bad enough either to push the gasket out, because let's just get rid of that glass, because what I have known them do as well, say when I had my A65 and we were blasting along and it pumped the head out, is one side of the gasket just ballooned out. That's not happened in this case. Right, okay, one more go with this, then we'll clean it up, and then it's ready to anneal the gasket. Right, there we go, all cleaned up. Not too bad at all. Slightly low there, but the grinding paste was beginning to grab it, so it's definitely an improvement. All cleaned up nicely, and the same with the other side, and cleaned up the gasket face as well. It will need a new gasket, and I've only got blue ones in stock, which I hate, so I might make one up actually. But anyway, what we'll do now is we'll refit the head. I've already annealed the gasket and got that in place. Good news is it lines up, so the studs are in the right place. Lightly greased on both sides. So I'll just drop the head on now and I'll bring you back. Right, head back on. All the bolts and the nuts are in place. Just lightly tightened from the centre outwards. So always start with the centre, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that sort of pattern. And just to correct something that I said earlier, in that I think I was referring to the fact that these threads only have to withstand, you know, torque setting of 22 pounds-feet. It's not, it's 31 to 33 foot-pounds. Which way round is it? I think it's foot-pounds, isn't it? No, I was right the first time. Pounds-feet. And I've got the old torque wrench out, and looking at the setting of that, when I last used it, it's at 22-ish, which is the setting for the big end bolts, not the head bolts. So maybe I got that wrong as well, which ain't gonna help. Anyhow, 31 to 33 it is all round, so we'll torque that up now. Right, that's it, all torqued up, not much to see, but now torqued correctly to about 32 pounds-feet, and not 22. Assuming that's what I did originally. I might have to look back at the original videos. So I think we're there. Obviously everything else to connect up, but that should only take an hour or two. But what I'll do is I'll end this video at this point, as we're on the way again, and what I'll do is for the next video I'll begin that once I've got the exhaust and the carbs and the rocker box back on, and we'll focus then on sorting out the timing again, although you're probably sick to the teeth of that. Right, hopefully we're on our way again. I feel a bit more comfortable now. Yeah, I know some of you are probably going to say what the hell are you doing helicoiling, etc., but as I explained, then with respect to the scarcity of the barrels and what else I'd have to do if I got another set of barrels, then it doesn't bear thinking about if we can hopefully if we've resolved it through that means now. Okay, I'll leave it there. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Thanks for interest, comments and subscriptions, and I'll see you all again soon with an update on this, and hopefully we can put this lot to bed then. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.